Okay, so I'm making this video to talk... Wrong slide. I'm making this video to talk about the misconceptions that people have regarding Circle Line and its future expansion. So again, this is kind of a continuation from previous videos. I know I have made countless videos regarding this, and the main point I have is that I'm not trying to farm the Circle Line's opening or anything, because I'm literally not in Singapore. I cannot do anything about it. And even if I was like a greedy, clickbait bastard, even if I was that, I wouldn't be able to film anyway. And obviously, as you guys know, my goal is to not become one of these AI clickbait, but then the whole explanation is full of cracks kind of YouTuber. That's not what I aim to be. My aim is just to clear up any misconceptions, and even if I get stuff wrong, I correct myself in future videos, or I pin a comment, or I just respond, I just follow up on whatever I have said previously. So it's the electric bendy bus procurement thingy, right? That has been delayed indefinitely because right now LTA has no money, and even stuff like Service 121 being extended to Marina Center from Shenton Way, right? Even that has been put on hold because LTA just doesn't have enough funds right now. They're concentrating on other things. Procuring whatever electric bus you have currently, or just bus packages and stuff like that. So yes, if I stay silent, it means I don't know the progress. But when I know, I will clarify in the comments or a future video. So that's basically how I roll. I mean, most of you understand. It's just a handful of people still don't understand why I give intel, and then sometimes it turns out that said intel, they change something internally and they decide not to proceed with it, stuff like that, which is beyond my control. I'm literally only the messenger. That's my job. My job is a messenger. My job isn't to, give people the already confirmed public information. My job is to let people have a better understanding of what goes on behind the scenes, because an amendment is not just one clear-cut thingy. There are various reasons why they decide to proceed with this small aspect of it or this small aspect of it, and why certain aspects of it they don't proceed. The main aim is nuance, and the thing that the bus and train enthusiasts, the community in general in Singapore lacks, is that they don't know how to be nuanced, and everything to them is so bipolar. Not bipolar, but it's everything to them is just black or white. It's this good, this bad, this good, this bad. And then I've also noticed that a lot of people, they speak out against the quote-unquote misbehaving enthusiasts when they themselves, they're not any better, right? I've also seen a lot of these people. So yeah, my aim is to offer nuance, which is something that objectively, you just look around Singapore's the MRT or bus YouTube, you would know what I mean. A lot of them are just clickbait AI slop that they don't really offer any new insight or anything. But that being said, right, this video is just repeating previous statements just to make myself clear. So there has been the okay, 3 minutes, whatever. I've taken longer anyway. Okay, so this comes from the previous video where people were comparing it to this, and I said no, because operationally, dynamics, it's completely different. And then I also mentioned that people should be comparing it with this instead. Again, it is still between a heavy commuter railway line as opposed to a subway, so there is still this distinction, but at the very least, at least the service pattern-wise, it sort of resembles. But then one of my commenters, by the way, who commented on my previous video, they brought out this, which is it's Meijo line, the jo is Kanjo no jo, and then Meiko is Minato no ko, which means the port line and then the quote-unquote circle line. And Mei is basically the onyomi of Nagoya. like Nagoya no na, right? Onyomi is me. So Nagoya no minato meiko sen, Nagoya no kanjo sen meijo sen is the same logic as like Tokyo Yokohama line, right? Toyoko line. Saitama Tokyo line. Saikyo sen. So it's kind of like okay. Tokyo Narita line. Keisei line. It's kind of like the same logic when it comes to like the nomenclature, like the way Meijo and Meiko are being named. This also applies to like Hanshin line or Keihan line, which is Kyoto plus Osaka, if I'm not mistaken. Hanshin is Kobe plus Osaka. Osaka is the Han, and then the Shin comes from Kobe. Yeah, so something like this. Anyway, that's not important, but the main point is that this one is also a subway, and instead of like just anti-clockwise, clockwise loop, there is also the true service from the branch line that stops at either Ozone or Nagoya Dome. Ozone or Nagoya Dome. I know this one, the station, it sounds like the ozone layer, but it's pronounced Ozone. It's not Ozone, it's Ozone, because it's you don't say Osaka, you say Osaka. Yeah, so oops, sorry. Anyway, yeah. So this would actually be the parallel for the current circle line. I'm not taking into account like the future Sentosa loop line or Sentosa branch line, whatever end-to-end or loop it's gonna be. I'm not taking into consideration of that for this section, but this, so it's like circle line before CCL6, it used to resemble Marunouchi line with Honancho true service, but right now, since the circle part of the line has been closed up, it actually resembles Meijo Meiko line. So thank you for my commenter for pointing this out. It actually resembles this a lot more. So Meijo line, Meiko line. It resembles this. And for those of you who don't know, I'm just repeating myself again. Okay, never mind. I'll repeat myself again. So just the Sentosa branch line is basically from Prince Edward Road, and then there's supposed to be a waterfront station. STL is supposed to have it, so it's supposed to link like this, somewhat. Sentosa East and like Pulau Brani-ish. Or maybe the line is gonna be end-to-end at terminate at Sentosa West. Nobody knows. Or maybe they're gonna try to like combine both. It's like they're gonna combine Sentosa East, Sentosa West, Pulau Brani, effectively replacing the monorail and stuff like that. So yeah. And then I've also talked about how, in the previous video, I talked about how this Sentosa branch line in the future, it's going to be like like for revenue service, right? It's going to be operated as an isolated loop line or an isolated branch line, kind of like Tanamera. There is no true service. There is no true service to like Dhoby-Ghat or anything. It's not like that. It's going to be an isolated loop line or branch line. That's what I've talked about. However, I don't fully blame the netizens for thinking like this, but there has still been a misconception regarding what the Prince Edward Road, right? You can look at the videos that the Singapore train enthusiasts have uploaded, even the Gip Oji-san video as well. Or is it Jeep? Gip or Jeep? I forgot. But okay, whatever. You can look at their videos and you can look at the layout of Prince Edward Road. So this is kind of like an underground Gauss Circle Station. Because you know Gauss Circle Station, I don't know if those platforms are eventually going to be a future East-West Line branch line, or it's actually going to be a Jurong region line extension from like, is it Tawas or Bengkang Hill? I forgot what the terminal station is. It Bengkang Hill, right? Yeah, it's supposed to like either it's gonna be a branch line of East-West Line or it's gonna be a JRL extension. A JRL extension, it's technically still possible, by the way. So yeah, that one I don't know, but I can say with certainty. I've even showed you guys like the diagrams before in my previous videos, so it's not like people don't know the layout of Prince Edward Road Station. It has already been open to the public, and then right now they are already running like the full anti-clockwise, clockwise, and Dhoby Ghaut to Prince Edward Road. They are already starting to run the actual service. So despite that, and again I'm saying I don't blame the netizens, but they still have a lot of misconceptions regarding what the unused platforms right now are going to be for. A lot of people, they still think, I don't know why, despite me reminding people many times that this is not STL. STL doesn't even cut across Prince Edward Road in the first place. The platforms are for the future Sentosa branch line. Okay, and the thing is, for the trains that are turning around at Prince Edward Road, there is like a turnaround track over here. And then, in addition to this turnaround track, right, there's also a... what do you call that? There's also a track, a connecting track for non-revenue services to cross over from the main line to this branch line or loop line. Like, it points down southwards towards Sentosa. But now we've figured out like the rough alignment, so I don't know the exact stations, but I know the rough alignment of what it's gonna be. So this siding, again, it's to turn around the Dhoby Ghaut to Prince Edward Road trains. That's one, and then normally it will just hit to Marina Bay, right? And then there's another connecting track that's for off service, like non-revenue trains. That one we've also talked about. So to make it clearer, right, this one is for non-revenue service trains. Sorry. And then this one is towards like Marina Bay. This one is just a turnaround track. So this one is main line, anti-clockwise, clockwise loop, which is like stacked. And then this one is stacked as well. Again, I forgot which one is above, which one is below, so I'm sorry about that, but this portion, again, reminder, it's not STL. This is Circle Line Sentosa branch line. In case people still have the misconception about what the new platforms are going to be. I'm only typing this because I still see comments around just making false assumptions that this is going to be... Because usually you look at the alignment. Okay, I'm gonna use like yellow and blue. I'm gonna use blue for STL. So like Tengah line. Like this is like the normal circle line, right? And then assuming Sentosa branch line is gonna be a loop, right? There's going to be this station over here that's... we'll just tentatively call it like Waterfront. Greater Southern Waterfront, but we'll just shorten it to Waterfront. Because GSW, it's like too long. And it's kind of like a mouthful to say. Oh, shit, sorry. So STL cuts through main line at Keppel. Not Cantonment, not Prince Edward Road, at Keppel. Even the official alignment, the one that they were going to conduct studies based on, it shows Keppel. It doesn't show Cantonment, it doesn't show Prince Edward Road. Like, even if you didn't have like the insiders, this is already a big hint. And then this goes towards like Marina South Pier area. I don't know if it's going to cut at Marina South Pier because the feasibility studies are still underway, but let's just assume that it's like Marina South Pier area. But keep in mind, main circle line, the clockwise and anti-clockwise loop, STL only cuts this portion once. Sentosa branch line, okay, I'm gonna use orange, even though both are technically yellow. It's gonna use the exact same rolling stock. Exact same rolling stock, by the way. Sentosa branch line. Imagine this is like Pulau Brani over here. Pointing towards Pulau Brani. And this is Prince Edward Road. This is Cantonment. This is Prince Edward Road. And then here is the connecting track. So this is how it, like I've said, you guys have seen this diagram before. You guys know what this is. I don't know if waterfront is supposed to be here or here or here, but my intels tell me that it's supposed to be, this is a portion where I'm still not 100% sure, but it's supposed to be here. Because I'm stupid. I don't know where GSW actually is, but the part that I'm certain about is that I can say with you with utmost certainty that this is not STL. STL is completely different. And then this points towards Sentosa. East area. So I hope with this diagram, you guys wouldn't be, like the netizens, you guys wouldn't be confused anymore. I know I spent way more time talking about this than I should, but it's just so that, because it's like, this video goes out to like non-train enthusiasts as well, so I don't want to see people speculating that, oh, you know, Prince Edward is going to be for the future STL. I'm like, it's not. Just listen to what we're trying to say. Okay, and then the other thing is that, according to my friend over here, oh, sorry. His observations nowadays were that, besides Sotomari, Uchimari, like clockwise and anti-clockwise, right? Besides these two that operate whenever the line is operating, there is also the Dhoby-Ghat to Prince Edward Road. Shortworking trip, is it really correct to call it shortworking trip? I know, it's another variation of service. I don't think it's even right to call this SWT. So this is what it's supposed to go, how it's supposed to go. So this thing, I previously talked about, like, I don't know whether peak hours is going to be 1 and 2 trains or 1 and 3 trains. Anyway, you guys can verify this for yourself since the whole line is in operation right now. You can go verify for yourselves, but apparently this Dhoby-Ghat to Prince Edward Road thing, I think they changed it. It's a like Dhoby-Ghat to Prince Edward Road is now a peak hour only thing. And there used to be like a Marina Bay to Stadium shortworking trip, right? There used to be this. However, for off-peak, they actually do not run Dhoby-Ghat to Prince Edward Road anymore. They've like decided against it for some reason. They decided it wasn't worth to actually do it during off-peak. So what they did is that instead of like terminating it at Marina Bay, this now becomes the shortworking trip. So for me, right, typically how I define shortworking trip, and it's okay if you guys define it differently, but a shortworking trip is basically a revenue service shortworking trip, like its name suggests, that only operates like from one part of the line to another part of the line. And typically, for like, Ang Mo Kio bound trains, right, it depends. If it's like a shortworking trip to Ang Mo Kio and then it doesn't go back to the depot, it just reverses, or it's like to Yishun and then it reverses direction, typically I don't really count that as a shortworking trip. Sorry. No. Jukun, you could call it SWT, even though it's part of like the official service. Ishun and Angmokyo, if they go back to the depot, Angmokyo, if they go back to the depot, I typically don't consider it a short working trip. If it turns around at Angmokyo or it turns around at Ishun, then yes, you could consider it a short working trip. Because it's only operating part of the line. Because it's like, for train launching or train withdrawal, I typically don't consider them part of short working trips. Even though by definition they kind of are, but when I think of like short working trip, I'm thinking of like, from here to here, it goes like this, or it goes like this without returning to depot, or yeah. But yeah, anyway, this is what happens when I don't script my videos. Not like I'm gonna script them anyway, but yeah. Typically, short working trip, usually when I think of it, I think of like, it only operates partial distance, and it has got nothing to do with like train withdrawals or anything. So apparently, okay, so the main thing is that for peak hours, right, they operate Dobiga to Prince Edward Road, and then apparently, according to my friend, nowadays Dobiga to Stadium is now the actual off-peak short working trip. So yeah. Okay. Does this really have any impact? I don't think so, because from Dobiga to Stadium, right, I know you have to walk inside a little bit, but there is a train. But there are also bus alternatives. Like there's 14, there's 16. So it doesn't even matter if like the frequency along this part of the line has been cut. Also, it's noteworthy to say that like this portion of the line has speed restrictions. So the bulk of the trains, it's better if they just get confined to the circle, whereas this branch, right, curved tracks, right, they are typically more susceptible to wear and tear because of like friction, and it's also like the crossover tracks actually have to be made of a material that's more durable than normal tracks, because again, crossovers, right, friction, wear and tear, that's generally how it is. So it's kind of a good thing that majority of the trains are confined to the circle and not necessarily the quote-unquote branch. So yeah, I think I've yapped way longer than I should yap. Bye.